So let's fast forward to 2026. The AI world, it's really run by two giants, Grok and ChatGPT. Now, both of them are, well, they're incredibly powerful, but they don't think the same way at all. And that's the key. So when you've got that next big project, which one should you actually pick? Let's figure it out.
Okay, so here's how we're going to do this. Think of it like a showdown, right? We'll break it down into a few key rounds. First up, we'll step into the AI arena to meet the contenders. Then we'll pit their personalities against each other. After that, we'll see how they handle the information game, and most importantly, how they actually perform when you put them to work. We'll even get into the nitty-gritty, the rules they play by. And all of that is going to lead us to the final moment, helping you pick your champion.
All right, first things first, let's meet our contenders. Before we can really see how they stack up against each other, we've got to understand who they are at their core. Like, what was the whole point of building them in the first place? So, in this corner, we've got Grok from XAI. If you want to get a handle on Grok, just think of it as the AI that's built for right now. Its entire design philosophy is about speed. It's about grabbing live, real-time information and just talking to you, really directly, super informal. And then in the other corner, we have ChatGPT from OpenAI. Now, this one has really evolved, right? It's become this incredibly versatile, all-purpose assistant. It's kind of the tool you see, well, everywhere, from developers coding to marketers writing copy. It's for anyone who needs a super reliable partner to get some serious work done. All right, let's kick off round one, personality and vibe. And look, this might seem kind of fluffy, but it's so important. The way an AI talks to you, it can totally change how you use it. So what are you looking for? A witty sidekick or more of a polished professional assistant? And really, this is the core difference. Talking to Grok, it can feel like you're just chatting with a clever, maybe even a little sarcastic friend. But interacting with ChatGPT, that's much more like working side by side with a really polished professional colleague. What's really wild is that this is totally on purpose. Grok is designed to be direct. I mean, sometimes even blunt. It's not afraid to crack a joke or even give you its opinion. And for a lot of people, that less perfect, less polished vibe, it actually feels a lot more natural, more human. ChatGPT, totally different approach. For them, the name of the game is consistency. It always keeps this neutral, kind of cautious tone. The responses are super structured, which, let's be honest, is a huge win in a business or school setting. Basically, anywhere you absolutely need that predictable, reliable result every single time. Okay, on to round two, the information game. And I've got to say, this might just be the single biggest thing that sets them apart. It's not just about what they know, it's about how they get that information. Is it all about breaking news speed, or is it about deep, verified analysis? So, here's the fundamental trade-off. Grok is plugged right into the live, totally unfiltered fire hose of public conversation. ChatGPT, on the other hand, takes a step back. It's way more careful, focusing on information that's been double-checked and placed into a larger context. The secret sauce for Grok is its direct link to X, what we used to call Twitter. And this gives it a legitimate superpower. It can listen in on the global conversation in real time as it happens. So if you need to know what's trending, what's blowing up online right this second, Grok is definitely your go-to. Now, don't get me wrong, ChatGPT can browse the web too, but its whole process is just different. It's built to value accuracy over raw speed. So yeah, it might be a little behind the absolute chaos of social media, but in return, you get answers that are way more likely to have solid, reliable context. It's a choice, right? A deliberate trade-off. You're swapping a little bit of speed for a lot more stability. Okay, so this is where the rubber meets the road. We've talked about personality, we've talked about data sources, but how does that actually play out when you're trying to get work done? Let's take a look at three really common tasks: writing, coding, and research. This really lays it all out pretty clearly. For writing, think of Grok for that snappy headline or a quick summary. But for a deep, technical document, that's ChatGPT's home turf. Same thing with coding. Grok is awesome for getting a quick explanation of some new tech, but for a big, complex project where you need reliability, you're going to lean on ChatGPT. And with research, it's the exact same pattern. Grok gives you the fast overview, the general sentiment. ChatGPT is for that deep synthesis, that multi-step reasoning. All right, moving on to our next round, and this one's a biggie: the rules of engagement. See, every AI has a sort of operating manual, a set of rules and constraints. And understanding this fine print, Stuff about bias, what kind of media it can create, its limits, is absolutely crucial if you want to use them well.
And this brings us to probably one of the most important questions in AI right now. Are these things really unbiased? And let's just be honest, the short answer is no. Of course not. Every AI is a mirror of the data it learned from. So the real question isn't, is there bias? The better question is, how does each platform try to handle it? And when you look at how they handle it, you see two totally different philosophies at play. Grok is aiming for something they call uniform treatment. The goal is to avoid leaning into any particular ideological frame. ChatGPT, on the other hand, is built to be cautious and to stick to its policies. Its main goal is to minimize harm across all kinds of different situations. So you've got two very different approaches to what a safe AI even means.
And you can see that same philosophy pop up in other places too. Grok is generally just more flexible. It allows for more open-ended chats, more creative freedom with image generation. ChatGPT works inside much tighter guardrails. It's all about making sure media is policy compliant, which, to be fair, makes it a much safer bet if you're in a professional or corporate setting.
Okay, we've made it through the main rounds. So now it's time for the big finale, choosing your champion. Let's take everything we've talked about and boil it down into a really simple, clear guide to help you pick the right tool for whatever you're working on. So who is Grok for? Let's run down the checklist. You should probably choose Grok if you absolutely need real-time information, if you prefer a more casual, back-and-forth conversation, if your job is to monitor trends, or simply if you need a quick, no-fluff summary, like right now.
And what about ChatGPT? When should you pull that one out of the toolbox? Well, pick ChatGPT if you're working on a structured, professional piece of writing, if you're going deep on a research topic, if you need code that is absolutely rock solid and reliable for a major project, or really, if you're doing any long-term work where consistency is the most important thing. But honestly, here's the real key, the most important takeaway from all of this. This is not a zero-sum game. It's not about picking a winner. The people who are really getting the most out of AI in 2026, they're not just picking one and sticking with it. No way. They have both of them in their digital toolbox, and they know exactly which job calls for which tool.
So there you have it. That's the breakdown. You've seen the strengths, the weaknesses, the different ways of thinking for each of these AI contenders. So now, the only question that really matters is, when you sit down for your next task, which champion are you going to choose?